welcome back. And it's time for us to get into some deep conversations. Yesterday, we brought you some scenes from Legon campus and Kumasi as well, KNUST, and basically students stranded and a bit bewildered as to what it is was going to happen to them in this semester. As the lecturers are on strike,
UTAG strike,
UTAG is on strike
today.
And today is day 2, right?
Yeah.
Today is day 2 of that. Now we have a report for you, just basically a recap of what's happened so far. Let's take a look at that. We'll come back and then we'll delve further into this conversation.
The University of Ghana campus was busy today, even though academic work is supposed to officially kick off come Monday, January 17, 2022. Most of the students, particularly freshmen and sophomores, were engrossed with the academic registration, while others, together with their guardians, were stranded over their inability to secure accommodation. Some of them spoke to City News. All students, you are in level 200.
Yes, please. Okay, so it's going to have a negative impact on our side because most of them are not even aware that the teachers are on strike. And those who are aware, so it's actually like a big shock to them. Also, our financial status would actually drain because we would be planning on coming to campus to study. But when they get here, most of them would be told that lecturers are on strike, which I think is not going to help us at all. It's going to affect our lectures and all those stuff.
Well, apparently, I learned we are not lecturers. We are supporting stuff. I don't know if that's a word, but yeah. So since we are not lecturers, UTAG is the one going on strike, and we are not part of UTAG. So we are workers, so we are supposed to come.
So how's your working day going to look like, and what's the conversation amongst you since the people you are supporting are on strike?
Well, I guess we'll be there till maybe some work comes up and then we'll do it, or maybe use the Wi-Fi for something. I don't know. Well, I will not say we are in solidarity because some of the students, they need help, like especially the level 100s. They are new on campus, so they'll be asking for directions then other stuff, and you don't want to be like lecturers are on strike, and so I would not offer my help. Definitely you would want to help. So yes, we are available. If they come and they ask us for help, why not? We will offer them our help. But lectures, we can organize lectures. So.
You also know there's a strike?
I don't know about that.
How do you think that could affect the academic work of your daughter, your sister?
I think it's too early to be doing. What's the reason? I didn't know about that, and if that's the case, what's the reason? Because it's too early. We are in a new year and we should start with that. I don't think it's going to help anybody.
On their part, the Legon chapter of UTAG believes it has acted in good faith. It warned that the academic calendar may be derailed should government fail to resolve their concerns. They say they are resolute in their decision not to return until government favorably acts on their concerns.
The General Secretary of NUCS has joined me for his quick thoughts on this strike and the way forward for students. Welcome to the City Newsroom.
Thank you very much.
Were you surprised to wake up to this strike by UTAG?
No.
You were expecting it because they had warned earlier?
Yeah, we were expecting it. It's something that we knew would come, and we were hoping against all odds that government would have intervened earlier and ensure that we don't get to this step, but then they have not, which is rather unfortunate. So we feel that it's high time they did the needful and satisfy the demand of UTAG by meeting some of the conditions they are putting there. Most importantly, the condition that they return to the 2013 modalities of their, conditions of service, pending the implementation of the report on the market survey. I think government should simply meet at least that one at this point so that they return to the classroom. Any other thing from that, we would be supporting UTAG to continue with the strike action.
So as students, you're in support of what your lecturers are doing?
Yes, we support UTAG to go ahead with the strike because last year they were on a strike, somewhere around, I guess, or November, I think.
Yeah, okay.
We all called on them to suspend it because of how COVID interfered with the academic calendar, and then everyone made an appeal to them. They acted in good faith, suspended the strike for exams and all those things to continue for the academic year to successfully end. That's enough breathing room for government to meet them halfway and meet some of those demands. But up till now, government has not done it.
All right, so there you have some thoughts. Of course, the recap earlier on with Caleb Kuda of what happened yesterday, and then Vivian Kailoko speaking to the UTAG now, you see, from the NUCS president. Yeah. Now, I find it interesting, his position, you know, supporting the strike action. But in a certain sense, it's like empathy, right? Saying that, look, we've been here, we've seen them go to negotiation, and nothing seems to have come of it. So, you know, support the strike. But I thought that the NUCS, being the students' overall mother body, would rather look at the plight of students.
No, so I think that where he's coming from is due to the fact that this is an on and off, you know, kind of conversation. So we are addressing the problems, you know, in bits, you know. Yeah. So so the teachers or the lecturers threaten a strike action, then they go into negotiations, then they come to a certain compromise, then they come back after a while, they have to go again. So I think that he wants a lasting solution. You know, let's just finish with this once and for all and move on, you know, because at the end of the day, they are at the receiving end. And so whatever happens, they are the ones bearing the brunt, you know. So I mean.
But Frema, so let's say we look at a lasting solution. What is a lasting solution? I mean, is it giving them today what they want in full? But if we do that, does it mean that 3 years down the road, it will be sufficient to the current needs at the time?
No, so I think that just as, you know, no, I get where you're coming from. Yes, I get where you're coming from. Because I know that, I mean, whatever happens, if you give them what they're asking for today, after like 5 years, after 10 years, it still
by all means, it will not be enough.
So they will come back. But what I am suggesting, or my issue now is, sit down with them. Whatever they are asking for, can you do it? Can you give what they are requesting? If not, what can you do?
Maybe there should be some kind of automatic mechanism put in place so that maybe every year or every 2 years there's an automatic upward adjustment, you know, even if it is a small incremental adjustment, let's say something percent or 1% or something, you know, it always goes up automatically so that there's no. But
I think this is why they have the market surveys and all these other stuff, you know. So what exactly happened? So I think that whatever.
Well, they said the white paper that were drawn up, the government didn't follow it.
Implement it, you know. So whatever is that's what I'm saying, that if that is not doable, what is doable? What is government saying? Because when I listened to the interviews yesterday from UTAG, they are yet to hear from government. You know, so these are some of the issues that they are facing, you know. So has government reached out to them? What is going to happen now? Can you give them what they are asking for? If you cannot give them, what can you offer? Let's have a conversation, you know, because at the end of the day, so I where the is come. So if you say that of students, he is also sharing in the plight of students, but he has to appeal to one of the parties, you know. So in as much as he probably will be pleading with UTAG to come back to the classroom, he has probably also decided that, okay, now I'm pleading with government. Come in and solve the problem, because you must be the bigger person, you know, to address these issues. Let's take it that the UTAG is throwing tantrums. You know, you are the parent, you are the father. At the end of the day, whatever they're asking for rests with you. What is your position on this? You know, so I think that in as much as you can plead with the teachers, certain things must be put in place. Certain strong and stringent measures, tangible measures should be put in place. And I think that it is government that has to do that.
Well, Vivian, colleague Vivian Kailoko also spoke with the UTAG president, Professor Solomon Nunu. Let's take a look at that.
Let's understand the UTAG story, why they have decided to go on a strike now, especially when universities have opened. Let me speak to the president of UTAG, Professor Nunu, to inquire more about their action. Prof, welcome to the City Newsroom.
Thank you very much. So basically it has to do with our conditions of service. So conditions of service negotiations commenced somewhere in 2018 and it's been ongoing up to this point. So throughout the period, certain aspects of the document has been looked at and discussed. So at the moment, what we are looking at here, the thematic one has to do with the market premium of university staff. So back in 2012, 2013, government decided to pay us an interim market premium, which was 114% of our basic. And then in 2013, April, there was a government white paper that decided to put a freeze on this market premium, subject to the conduction of a labor market survey. The labor market survey, unfortunately, though it was done in 2014, its implementation never saw the light of day. In 2019, a labor market survey was conducted, and we only received the reports somewhere last week. That is after it was conducted in 2019, only last week that the report came out and saw the light of day. Its implementation is something that we see as auspicious, and we think the timing of the issuing of the report is just a camouflage just to assuade us to stop the strike action, but its implementation, we are not too sure if government is committed to it. Though the prerogative is with government, ensuring that it is paid is what is of interest to us as university teachers. So imagine that you were taking a market premium of 114% back in 2013, then a freeze is put on it. Today, the market premium you are taking is just about 50% of what you are of your basic. So in the end, you see some sort of depreciation taking place constantly with government not committed in any way to work on it. So that is what has brought us to where we are today.
So why don't you go back to the negotiation table to demand that it's implemented? Why back down and stay away?
We have not backed down from the negotiations table. What's the commitment of government? You can find out from government officials when was the last time they worked on it. National Labour Commission, when we went there to serve them notice of the strike action, that was on 22nd of December. The security officer in front of the place told us that the place is down and he's been instructed not to take any communication. So imagine if they had received the letter on 22nd of December, the two letters would have got to their end and then everything would have been solved. But they said they are off and they have been on break since 20th December. Which government agency went on break on 20th December? So you'll see that there was just some processes in there trying to frustrate the whole process. So that is what was done, and we were frustrated and we just had to go ahead because we managed to email the thing to some of their staff. Maybe they don't work with electronic mails, so they don't want to work with that. So for us, we got the message to them. Which government agency was on break from 20th December to 10th of January? They told us this is the day they are going to resume.
They will resume on the 10th?
Yes, that's what we were told.
By the security?
By the security officer.
But you can't take the security officer's, word
he said
for...
he's been given instructions not to allow us into the building.
But Prof, I'm sure you have access to the director of the National Labour Commission.
I don't think he knows me. Neither do I. I also don't know him.
But your institution has access to him, and you could easily reach out to him if you want to.
UTAG, we didn't have access to him.
Isn't that interesting, Prof?
It's very interesting that he also doesn't know me for him to reach out to me, because the letters got to all other officers who needed to know about this. So if he wanted to reach out, he could have done that. But it's like a decision on their part that let's frustrate these guys a little.
So you think National Labour Commission, who is supposed to be independent of the issues, is also in bed with other government institutions to frustrate your plans to get things done?
Personally, that is what I think. Some of us are not too comfortable with the structure of the National Labour Commission as it stands now. Not just the several other government institutions. You agree with me, changing government. We have a Transitions Act 2012 that will say that any appointee of the president goes home with him. So there's no security of tenure for a lot of these people. And so the person comes in and will always want to do the bidding of the government of the day. If there's security of tenure for most of these government institutions, I think they will have the clout to bite.
Would you go to this week's meeting, which is summoning you, and with this in mind that they may not be on your side, how are you going to approach the conversation?
So in the end, we'll have to come together and decide what exactly our strategy is going to be, go to the Labour Commission with our lawyers, go and listen to what they have, and then take a decision from there. Whatever it is, we'll have to decide. We get to the bridge, we'll cross it.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor Nono. We wish you well, and we wish you return to the campuses soon to do full work and not just part work.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank
you. Well, so that is the stance of UTAG. You had the president in there with Vivian. And Kweku, so, you know, it's quite unfortunate. And we shouldn't even be talking about this,
no,
you know.
We shouldn't.
So for the whole association to not even know who they have to be talking to, you know, security man is telling them something else. They've sent emails, they've done everything.
They said on the 20th they were off. No,
on the 10th.
No government institution went on break on the 20th.
And they've sent emails.
But they did.
You know, no, I think that is a serious conversation, you know, and sometimes we just shouldn't be having such kind of bottlenecks, you know, to frustrate processes and all. It's a very serious
it is.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm yet to hear anything from the Minister of Education.
No, he's not spoken at all on this matter.
You know,
no. I haven't heard anything on this matter.
Well, so these are the concerns of UTAG, you know, as enumerated by the president.
Yes.
Now, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has also been giving us their side of the story. What exactly have they been saying?
Every now and then, strikes by teachers, by doctors and all that. This strike, we are told by UTAG, negotiations have been going on since 2013. Why are we prolonging these negotiations?
It is inaccurate that negotiations, of course, negotiations go on year after year, but then the latest negotiations we held with UTAG ended in October 2021, just about 3 months ago. Both parties came to certain agreements, we signed off on it, and everything is settled. So it is a bit surprising and a bit discouraging for UTAG to push it out there that they've been dragging issues since 2013 that have not been dealt with. No one goes into a negotiation and get around the table to negotiate something which is worse than what they came to the table with. It is always an improvement of your conditions of service at any given time. And the negotiations that ended in October 2021 gave them their best conditions to date.
Okay, so if that is the case, best conditions to date, and you agreed in the negotiation, like you said earlier, you signed everything, why are we seeing what we are seeing today?
It's a bit surprising. If you take a look at their communique, they mentioned the report of a labor market survey. Now, let me brief you on this. The labor market survey is supposed to help the employer, in this particular case government, to find out which skills, critical skills, are short in supply in the labor market, in the public service, so that they find ways of attracting them back into the public service. That is the employer's prerogative. It is not for the employee to decide, make any decisions on the labor market survey and the payment of market premium thereof. There is a government white paper which guides the payment of market premium, and the government white paper said labor market survey, the results which leads to a market premium are not for negotiations. They are not even for groups. So you wouldn't have to have a situation where a group like UTAG saying, well, our conditions of service must be addressed by the result of a labor market survey. It is just the employer's prerogative. It is absolutely wrong, and it is false information. Vivian, as we speak right now, UTAG members are receiving every salary that is due them. They are receiving every allowance that is due them. They are even receiving every interim market premium that is due them. As we speak right now, every month, possibly they take their salary before you do. So it is not correct. I mean, the picture being painted is that, oh, their conditions are getting worse, whereas we actually concluded negotiation 3 months ago. They are saying that the interim market premium will not be affected by what they have seen in the labor market survey, so they are going on a strike. It is absolutely false. It is not true. We have negotiated with them. We've signed off on the negotiation. The new conditions of service are getting implemented, and the interim market premium is being paid as we speak right now. What they are talking about is the market premium, which is supposed to be derived from the labor market survey. And market premium is not for discussion, it's not for negotiation. Let's let every member of UTAG know, let the members of UTAG know that their leaders that come around the table should be telling them the truth. And the truth is, labor market survey and the results thereof are not for negotiation.
You haven't addressed the research allowance figures. Would you be kind enough to share with us what the figure is and what it was prior to whatever you've...
I don't know exactly what UTAG is saying concerning the research allowance, because I'll be surprised. What I know, and wasn't clearly mentioned in here, is that after we had signed off on everything, they went back to their constituents, and there was some kind of a voting process, and their constituents rejected it. But look
what you had agreed on.
Yeah, what we had agreed on. But look at it this way: you've sent representatives around the table. We've spent time, gone back and forth. We've negotiated, and intermittently, in between the negotiations, UTAG will say, "We are going back to our members to check with them and revert every time." And even before they appended their signature to the last document, they said, "We are going to our members, deal with them and come back." So they did so, and they came back. Government always understands those things. They came back and they signed off. So we were under the understanding that, okay, their members or their constituents have agreed to these, and we are going forward. Only for you to be hit with the fact that, well, they all voted, and they decided they
rejected what they came back.
Now, when you come next time to negotiate with us, what do we do? How do we say we are going to go ahead and negotiate? And each time, every step, government, fair wages leads the negotiation, but we are not around the table alone. Ministry of Finance is represented, Ministry of Education is represented, Ministry of Employment is represented, GTEC is represented. That is Ghana Tertiary Education Council. So all these things are put together, and then we sign off on it. So if one party says, "Oh, you sleep, wake up and stretch and say, no, we don't want this anymore," what do you expect government to say?
So some of the issues that they've raised, would you fall back and allow them to have their way just for this strike to end?
The lead negotiator is Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, and it's headed by the Chief Executive. And the Chief Executive will have to get financial clearance from the Ministry of Finance before they decide to take correct on any issue. So I will not be able to tell you that we will yield. At the moment, I'm just quoting the policy and the tenets of the policy. If you look at their last issue, they mentioned
salary. Restore members 2013, yes.
Basic salary. I will share the government white paper to you. The white paper is clear that the interim market premium should be paid as an absolute figure based on the 2012 figure. So if you are asking, you are heckling your employer to pay you that percentage to restore whatever it is in 2013, it is inconsistent with the labor market, with the white paper of the government on market premium. And the leaders of UTAG are very much aware of this. If your members are pushing you for this, you're supposed to educate them and tell them, look, this is not it. If it is not working, you can invite Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. We will share it with them. We will not say, okay, look at the document and study it. We will come and actually do a presentation for them, the members, to understand. But they will block you off their members and tell their members what is not true.
So what you are saying is you will not restore the members to the 2013 IMP?
This is poor little me, Ankara. I'm just.
You speak for the commission, so.
The commission has not made that decision yet, so I can't say that. But according to the government white paper, no, this is what they are demanding is not consistent with the policy.
All right, so that was Vivian Kailoko there having conversations with the Fair Wages Commission, with El Ankara. Now, so Freeman, it seems that we're understanding another side of this whole saga. The market survey was commissioned by the employer.
Yeah.
The employer commissions their survey, and the employee seems to feel that we've seen the survey that's been conducted. We should benefit from whatever it is that you discovered in the survey. Elankra is saying that is completely illegal. It's unacceptable because it is the employer's prerogative.
Yeah, so well, I think that fine, that could be the case. It could be your prerogative, but then I can also come out and say that, okay, so you decided, I'm calling for certain percentages, certain quotas, right? And then you decide to conduct your own survey. It is your prerogative. Yeah. I agree to that. But then I can also say that, okay, so when you did your survey, when you hit the market to find out who is getting what per your skill, you realize that journalists are supposed to be given this percentage. So in as much as the survey is you commissioned it, you wanted to know something and you had it, at least now you have an idea of how you're supposed to treat me.
Yeah, but you see, so what Elankra says also is that to date,
yes,
they are being paid exactly what they're supposed to be paid, and all of it.
Well, so it is, so Fair Wages have also come out, you know, has come out with their response to all this. Now, my question is, so from everything that I said, what I deduce from it is that UTAG is being inconsistent, right, in their demands as far as the policies are concerned.
Yes.
So in totality, this is their response. Now, my question is, why is government sitting down for their inconsistency to affect innocent students? You understand? So if they are doing something untoward, if they are doing something that does not go in terms of
rules of engagement,
the rules of engagement, why are we allowing innocent people to suffer? I think that then they have no locus going on strike, and government must step in immediately to say that this is not what we agreed on. If your members are demanding something else, let them know exactly what the conversations are. Now, Earl said that if you can't explain these things to your members, call on us, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission.
We will come and explain.
We will come and explain to them. You know, so I think that allowing things to go on like it is happening now is not the best thing.
So government needs to step in.
I don't know what the conversations are behind closed doors. Maybe something is happening that we don't know yet. But per information out there to us, this is what is going on. We are yet to officially hear from you know, the ministry or from whoever needs to come and say something. But our concern is with the students. All this, I don't think that a Ghanaian student should be treated this way.
Talking about students, let's go to the UDS and find out what their experiences also have been.
A visit to the UDS campus in Tamale saw first-year students registering their courses, while continuing students were seen loitering around. The industrial action by the University Teachers Association of Ghana is to demand for better condition of service. Interacting with City News, some of the students expressed concern about the negative impact of the strike on their studies and called on government to address the identified concerns of lecturers.
I'm a nursing student, a continuing student. We were supposed to start our lectures again this morning, that's on Monday, because the time is so short that we had to go for a break, then come back, and lectures were supposed to start today. And here we are, lecturers are not around to take us through. And it's going to be something destructive to us, because we will have our exams in a few weeks, and we are not to have enough lectures before the exams, which will affect us.
I just came to do my registration and go home, but when I came, I learned the teachers are on strike, and then it will affect us one way or the other, because with strike, how do lectures go on? Today is Monday, at least there should have been lectures ongoing on campus.
And this strike then is actually bothering me, because I just came and I saw the impact. It's not good, because we were to start lectures this week, and as a fracture, we having this kind of, I don't know, things coming up, it will really affect our studies. So we are very eager to come and learn.
Within an academic year, we structure our academic work, and then when the strike sets in, it hinders, you know, the lectures and all, and then the students are not able to pre-plan and then have their studies going on well. So I think government should try as much as possible to meet the demands of the UTAG members, and then they will be able to call off this strike.
The Vice President of UTAG UDS Tamale branch, Professor Victor Mogri, tells City News the strike, if not addressed immediately, will cause a change in the academic calendar of the university.
It has an enormous impact on our academic calendar. Just last week, I just finished preparing the calendar for our continuing students as well as our fresh students. In fact, the fresh students were supposed to begin on, next week, Monday. That is on the 17th of January. That is for those in the medical school. I know that the other campuses, the other faculties, they are actually supposed to begin today also. So because of that, and because of this particular industrial action, it means that I would have to revise the timetable.
Right, so the story is not different on the campus of UDS. That is the UTAG strike entering day 2.
Yeah.
So this is it.
We need to shut this strike down as soon as possible. Government needs to intervene. It doesn't. Look, we are too grown to be still doing this kind of. I think we are too grown. Listen, 25 years ago, this was happening.
Yeah.
Why are we still doing this? Do you see? I think that 30 years ago this was happening.
So I think years do not make you grow. It doesn't make you mature.
It gives you the opportunity
you understand?
to
you
grow.
are supposed to grow.
It gives you the opportunity
exactly.
to grow. And so my question is, why are we still doing this? Can you imagine UTAG US branch going on strike? UTAG UK branch going on strike.
See, I think that government has done well with free SHS, right? Done beautifully with free SHS. The grades that came in, the number of students who have passed out. I think this is tarnishing that beautiful score they've achieved, with your freshmen now going to school, and this is what they are
going to experience.
They meet, So let there be that consistency, because from free SHS, then what? Education shouldn't halt, So I think that whatever the conversation is, students, that is my primary concern. Students should not be, because now it looks like the lecturers also say that, okay, we can use the students as bait, right? So if you see the students stranded, frustrated on campus, you will do something, but it shouldn't get there. It's embarrassing. You understand? We shouldn't be entertaining this.
It doesn't speak well of us. It speaks well of our managing skills.
And for me, the fact that this government is seen as prioritizing education. You understand? This is also education. Tertiary education is part. Secondary education is part. So we shouldn't just be focused on secondary education and senior secondary education. Looking at, okay, so they are doing well. We are opening up for more people to come in. Beyond that,
where are those people going to go?
You understand? So now the students have graduated. They've passed beautifully. Is this how you want them to continue? So whatever it is, I think that government needs to really sit down, address this ASAP. Let the academic calendar, continue, because from the way it started, the calendar will be affected. And already we've not really seen our left and right, recovering from COVID. So these are not things that, these kind of artificial problems are not what we need at this point in time. So I think that Minister of Education, I'm sure you are doing something, because I just don't want to believe that since yesterday to today, you've not called anybody, you've not done it. I really believe that something is happening behind closed doors, but it really needs to be swift.
And with that said, let's go for a short break. Breakfast Daily will continue soon.